people. And then I kept seeing this TikTok live thing, and I'm like, how you do that? And lo and behold, all I got to do is press a button, and that's how you go live on TikTok. So if you're over here on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, hey, y'all are my OGs. Welcome. But we got a new little audience over here. They're popping in and they're popping out. But I'm on TikTok live for the very first time, which is so crazy to me. So, for those of you all new over here and new here as well, my name is Kirsten Allen, and I have been known as the corporate contract slash LinkedIn guru for business owners, experts, professionals that want to land more corporate contracts in their business. Now, why I say exciting updates and changes is because for most of you, again, that's your first introduction to me of us being here now. It's a lot of stuff popping up over here on TikTok. However, that is going to continue to evolve. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today as we share some time here. I don't know how long we're going to be here, but we here. I have a clear day today. I got some calls that got moved, and so we just here. But yeah, so essentially what that has looked like in the past, I've shared some of this with people who are on my communities over here on this side. But my background has been in the corporate space for almost 7 years before I decided to before I decided to transition into full-time business. It's a lot of stuff that keep coming up over here. This is distracting. Before I decided to transition into full-time business. I don't know why that word is continuing to get away from me. But I was in the tech space. And so I sold millions of dollars B2B to government entities, universities, and organizations. Well, they're all organizations over the course of my career. And I did not think that that had any value when I started my business. So this actually is not my first business. Now, I haven't told this story. My very, very first business that I actually started and incorporated was an event planning and design business. So I did decor for baby showers. Did I ever do a wedding? I think I might have did things for a wedding. I did the design for all of my wedding decor favors and all of that stuff. And I was also involved. I believe I had like some actual planning opportunities that I did with that business as well. And I started it in college. So I never talk about that. And I don't know why. Maybe because it wasn't like the six-figure business and the popular things, that people are doing. But I did have businesses prior to starting what I do today that led me to this. And a part of the changes and updates that I do want to share too is more about this particular story, because I know online it's kind of like I just popped in and I'm just doing this and I don't really talk about, well, here are all the times that I failed. Here are all the times that this didn't work, or, what the background and story is to why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. They are popping in over here on TikTok. This is so crazy. I don't even know what's going on. It's just moving. But anyway, so yeah, I never talk about the fact that that is really where I started this particular journey. And I did that alongside while I was in college, and then a little bit alongside with my first career. And then I decided to kind of shut it down because I'm like, okay, this is more like a side hustle type thing. I hadn't really put in, the effort to really drive it to be like the organization that I'm creating today. And so that kind of died off. Then when I decided, okay, I'm going to revisit business again, I started with my background in marketing. So I have a marketing degree. I don't have an online marketing degree. Let me let y'all know that right now. I have a traditional 4 Ps of marketing, not just social media, but overall general knowledge of marketing. And so when it came to the online space, I'm like, this is a little different. Like I'm used to doing corporate marketing campaigns, or either corporate marketing strategies and tactics. And so I'm like, okay, when I get into this online space, it's completely different. Like we did not, I didn't go. So I went to college at a time where social media was still social, right? It wasn't really like, well, in my experience, I'll say that people weren't doing like whole businesses. I guess they were. Let me say that because I go back and I hear some people like, oh, I was doing this in 2020, 2016 or 2015 or whatever the case may be. So they were doing online business. I'll just say that it wasn't something that I knew about. And it wasn't something that people around me knew about. Most people were still using social media from my perspective in that social perspective. Okay, I don't know. I just got a weird text. And so I didn't know all the ins and outs of building communities and all of that. Like literally, I was in the corporate realm. And so to us, platforms and all that stuff was literally just a place to be social. So anyway, the first thing I started doing is figuring out, okay, well, how can I leverage my marketing skills online and even some of my sales skills? So for a little bit of that time, I was a social media manager, right? So I understood the practices around engagement, awareness, like those things, but I didn't understand like how to go viral or, all of that. I didn't understand those pieces yet, but I knew how to create visuals. I knew how to, um, create some type of engagement, right? But I just didn't know about like high ticket and this and that. I didn't know all those things. Anyway, so I started doing that, just using my skills to be able to design content calendars and things like that without knowing that there was like more into it. But I gave the people what they needed at the time. And so then I'm like, okay, through that, I started to see this influencer stuff. Again, this was for me, 2021, I think. Yeah, because I started my original company in 21. The time flies by so fast. And like some of y'all gonna be like, we was been doing that. We have been online. We have been out in this world. I was in the corporate world, right? So I won't thinking or knowing nothing about influencing or coaching or none of that. Y'all was already into it. God bless. I was not. So when I started seeing the influencer stuff and seeing like what went into that it was more of pitching, it was like brand deals. I'm like, oh, this is very similar to what I'm doing in my career in terms of I'm pitching, companies every single day because I got $1 million quota to close. And so I'm talking, having conversations with organizations, negotiating, proposing all of that 24/7 for my day job. And I'm like, I really want to, I was intrigued by it. And so I started working with some people on a very low scale to be like their influencer manager, I guess you can say. And that was cool because it gave me a chance to, again, apply the same skills to a different arena. So I would reach out on behalf of these people that I was managing to these different brands to get them opportunities, sending out their media kits and all of that. And this was stuff that I was kind of learning as I was doing it. I wasn't charging a whole lot, you know what I'm saying? It was no high ticket stuff or anything like that. It was literally like, hey, it's just going to be this little bit, try me out. Let's kind of see what we can create type of thing. And I had a good time with it. I had great conversations. I was able to bring some visibility to those that I worked with. But I think at that time, especially in 2021 for me, I had just had my son. And so I'm like, I had the dream of growing the thing, but I was like, the way that I'm doing it right now, I just don't see any type of way that I can grow this. Again, this was before I had hired any coaches or knew anything about what y'all was over here doing online. And so yeah, I didn't know about charging high ticket and what prices I could charge and all of that at that time. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how I can be able to scale this up. Then lo and behold, somehow I landed on a advertisement from Latisse Hudson. I'll go ahead and shout her out. She was the very first coach that I ever hired. Didn't even know that coaching was a thing. I jumped right into a $10,000 thing. Did not know that there were levels to this or any of that. I'm just like, oh, I attended her webinar. She talked about, ads and this coaching thing. And I'm like, oh, this is definitely something that I can do. Like I've been a trainer in corporations. I've been, developing processes and teaching people, mentoring people, all these things. It's an ad in here for a while. So I'm like, I can do this. And so I jumped in with her and built out my first coaching program. I don't know how I started talking about the history of things, but if you ever want to know how I got into this is gonna be the video that y'all watch. So then I started learning about it and putting together like these different programs based on my corporate skill set and how it could apply to entrepreneurship. And I know I hit so many walls. I jumped into ads too soon. Like one of my greatest lessons that I've learned, and I still, of course, took fruit out of that. But one of the greatest things that I learned is like, do not jump into ads, especially when you're first starting the business. I mean, come on now, girl, you didn't need to have an ideal audience, all the things. It was like crazy. But anyway, through that program, I still was able, the ads didn't work. Well, I'm not going to say like her stuff works, but I'm saying it did not work for me because I was not prepared to, I didn't have the clarity. Like every couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should shift to this and maybe I should shift to that. So the person can only work with what you give them. If you don't have that clarity for yourself, then it's hard for them to be able to really, guide you into a direction when you're still kind of all over the place. And so while that program was amazing and all of those things, like I said, her strategies and tactics definitely work. I saw it real time. It was just too early stage for me. It didn't make sense for me to continue to build my business that way, because I was too all over the place with what I was offering, and it just got to be frustrating. Now, like I said, those are my first couple of clients that I was able to get in through or some organic methods that, whew, it really burned me out, but we sticking to the parts of the story. So we don't want to get too far off in a tangent. So yeah, I had those clients. It was great. Like you'll still see their testimonials and things on my site. And it's led to so many different iterations. Like then I started, well, a lot of people want to know about LinkedIn. So I really started to be known for that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to have a whole coaching program on LinkedIn. Then I started to see like, okay, people really want to know like how to get corporate contracts. And I'm like, again, smack in the face. I'm the girl who did that. Like, I didn't even think that that had value as much as it does today, that I'm like, oh, these same conversations that I was having, these same, discovery calls, these proposals, these things that I was putting together as a early 20 something years old, dealing with people decades older, coming into their spaces, telling them how I'm going to sell them this particular, package. And these are all the results they're going to get. I learned that there was a space for that and a gap in that needed in the marketplace that only I could solve. Oh, I never said that before. I've never said that before, but that's the truth. And I didn't always own that. That's a part of my journey too that I'll talk about. I don't know, either today or maybe on another one, that I hadn't always owned the fact that there was a place for me to have dominion over, right? And there was a need for just my voice. I spent so much time, y'all. I don't mind out of myself now because I didn't went through all the things. I spent so much time trying to figure out how I can be this particular image that I got so far away from who I was uniquely designed to be. And I didn't see value in who I was uniquely designed to be in the world because I didn't see, I felt like I just needed to morph into whatever success looked like in order to get there. I didn't know that there was a path already written for me as Kirsten to be successful. I felt like it had to be Kirsten morphing herself and changing herself to be whatever this image of success looks like that I created in my head. And when I look back on that, I'm like, wow, I missed so much time. Well, I wouldn't say miss so much time, but I spent so much time trying to conform, which is so interesting. I was just listening to this sermon today about the verse that says, be ye not conformed to the world. I was literally conforming myself instead of allowing myself to be transformed. And know that even if it's 20 million people doing corporate contracts or speaking or training, corporate training, whatever, there is like a lane that's designed just for me, and my voice is needed in this particular lane. And the further and longer that I stay away from that lane, then those people never get served the way that they need to be served. I think oftentimes we think, well, people have options, they have different things that they can do. And yes, they do. But for some people, and I've experienced this myself, there is the one voice, there is the one person, there is the exact place that you need to be at the right time. And if that person is so bent on trying to be someone else or trying to fit into a box, it's like I can't see them. And I can think of the amount of times where I'm in a season like that right now, where there's a person who God has placed into my life. And I'm like, I know exactly, like, this was the person. Yes, there could be so many people who could work with me or could help me in many different things, but I know that God sent this person for a particular reason. Like there was no one else, right? Yes, there are other people who teach the things, but there was no one else who was going to be that particular person. And it's happened time and time again, right? So I saw that for other people, I didn't see that in myself. Right. And I see a comment here from Siobhan, I think is how you pronounce it, or Chevy. Let me say that. And she says, in the beginning, we don't see the results because we're all over the place. I've been there. Having clarity is key. Yes, I've been all over the place. And I don't shame that, because being all over the place helps you get that clarity sometimes. This is another message for probably another day to share, is I often wrestle with that too. Like, I can't move until I have the specific exact clarity. And what I will say is that one thing I do credit myself on is that I will try the things. I will try to move on the things as quickly as possible with what I have. And sometimes it's been to my detriment, but I believe at some point it's either moved me further or it's taught me something. And in going and transitioning into being a spirit-led entrepreneur, a spirit-led woman, as a wife, as a mom, all the things, I'm learning that even as I am, I lost my train of thought, but I'm learning that that spirit-led piece means that I have to be willing to move even with the little flicker of what I have, and know that the rest is kind of going to be uncovered along the way. And so while it's a similar path that I've taken before, like, let me just try it, let me just do it, let me figure it out. Before, it was very like anxious and pushing, and it has to be this and it has to be that. And now it's kind of like, well, no, I don't just sit down and, just hope that the exact blueprint is just going to fall out of the sky. Like, to be honest, especially as I'm planning this event in September, which I'll talk about, I'm sure, at some point, but I'm having an event here in September, and I have, a little bit of heartburn around it, because I did an event in 2023 and it was great. I had an amazing client that signed up through that event, and, it didn't break the bank, and thank the Lord we're still in business, but it was a struggle to pull that event off. I remember that, like, so deeply. And I'm like, Lord, you're really calling me to do another event? Like, I just, oh, I'm like, I don't want to do all that. I don't know how I can do all of that. And the difference is going to be the fact of, one, me being Kirsten trying to push and do all the things. And then this side is going to be me actually relaxing, surrendering, taking the steps that I have, and letting the results be blown on, essentially, or created just by me taking that one step. Let me tell a testimony real quick. So, like I said, the event has been coming up. It has come up through a vision. It has come up through someone specifically, like, prophesying and telling me that. And then, it kind of like her saying it, and then something else happened where it came up again. And I'm like, okay, I have to do this event. So I sat down and I started thinking, okay, all right, this event, what what's going to be, blah, blah, blah. And then the date comes and I'm like, okay, it looks like we're having this event. Yay. And I don't say that like, I'm excited for what we're going to teach and talk about. I'm excited about, people getting in the room and everything. But when it comes to like the back end processes and what it takes to get there, I'm just going to be honest. I was like, oof, I'm not trying to do that again. Like, I'm just getting my sanity back, I feel, for real. And I'm not trying to cause any additional strains or struggles. And how do you get people in the room and all of this stuff, right? So the Lord actually gave me something on this that really helped me, like literally 2 days ago. He was saying, like, you're worried because you think you have to do the hard parts. You think that you have to get people in the room. You think you have to do all these things. You just see this long list of things to happen and you think it's all going to be on you. You don't have to do the hard part. So I'm like, okay. Now, through another word that I received, the person that I'm working with to help me, she was like, get on Threads and start talking on Threads about the event. And I'm like, okay, let me do that. I haven't really been on Threads like that before. But I'm like, she's been helping me. She's been like prophesying to me about this event. Like she has been clearly hearing from the Lord about this event. And I told her I'm going to do it. And so, I just didn't want to back out from that commitment, right? So I go and put the post up on Threads. I still did not think it was really going to get that much on there because I've been doing good on Threads, but just on different topics, just on my faith topics and things like that. And so when I posted it, I'm like, it's probably going to get 1 or 2 likes. Like nobody's going to comment. I wake up the next day and do you know, it was like 18 people who had said that they were interested in coming to this event. Mind you, I'm saying only 25 people. Like, I'm like, this event is 25 people. That's it. That's all I'm selling. I don't want the strain and stress of trying to, do more than that. So that's 18 people, brand new people, not y'all here in my audience already. TikTok is new over here, but brand new people. And I'm like, oh, he really meant what he said when he said you didn't have to do the hard part. Like, just take the step and make the post. Like, again, that was advice given to me, but from this particular person, I know that every piece of advice that she gives is literally like the Lord speaking through her to get me to move. That's just the standpoint that I have with it based on knowing her and all the things. So that happened. And I'm like, okay, so you're really going to put people in this room. You're really gonna have this event going crazy because the people need it. And it was so interesting to see people commenting of like, hey, yeah, this is what I want to offer to corporations. We're trying to figure out how to get there, all the things. We would love to be able to do more of this. Like, I'm seeing people talk more and more about the contracting goals that they have and how they really want to get inside of these organizations. And I wrestle with that, which I think often many of us who are leaders in certain things do, because it feels like there's always a mix. There's people who you as a person just want to serve, you want to give, you want everybody to be successful. We're not twisting arms, you know what I'm saying? So when people reach out, it's like you feel invested. You want them to do the things. You are believing in what they're saying that they want to do, and you want to support them in doing that. And sometimes you'll find people that are committed to talking and not committed to taking action, right? And there are people who are, just completely forever wanting to learn, but not wanting to move things forward. And that can be so frustrating as the person who's like, yo, like we've had these conversations, or I see you doing these things. I don't understand why you're not out here. Like, I don't get it. And it becomes like this thing for you of like, well, should I be doing this? Like, I see a lot of people talking, but I don't see a lot of people moving. And even with us as creatives, as experts, like people being on social media, you give away so many things for free. You put your time and energy. And let me not say for free. I said I was going to stop saying that because everything costs. Even if the person receives it for free, everything costs. So even when I was doing my I did like a little test open house for our boot camp program. And I didn't say like, hey, this boot camp or this open house is behind the scenes thing is free. I was like, your seat is on me, because really that's what it is. Like this right here that we're having, this is not free either. This is on me. So we do so much of that on us. We take so much of that on us, this value that we share, these things that we do, the tears, like literally the travel. And I'm just thinking about all the things that I went through to develop this skill set. It's like all of those things cost, the degrees, the wanting to give up, the pain, the struggle, the overlooks, the no's, like all the things cost. And then to get on here and to feel like well, do people value this? Are they hearing this? Like, do they want to move? And seeing people move, in different directions and think, okay, well, people are doing this over here, but why don't they feel valued? Why don't they feel the value behind what I'm sharing that could literally change their lives and business like it did change mine? And I know that it's a space that probably most people get into, and you have to kind of detach from that in order to stand firm to share the things that people need to hear. So I say all that to say with the event, just seeing people comment that stuff, it blessed me because I'm like, oh, people actually want to move on this. Like people are really, looking and searching for a solution like this. It's hard sometimes to believe it for yourself. And I won't say only for myself because I've had a successful business. I've had clients. So there have obviously been people who believed in it for themselves. But just when you think about the bigger dreams that you have, like, okay, these group of people, yeah, but if we're talking about 10xing that, I don't know how many people, truly believe in the value and how many people truly want to do this. So to see that was just like a confirmation for me of, okay, this is, as I mentioned when I talked early on, this is a lane that I'm meant to be dominating. People are looking for a voice in this space. People are looking for true direction and strategy that's not based upon, oh, I just showed up online and I started selling to companies. But no, I literally sat in Fortune 500 corporations with $1 million quotas every quarter and went and made it happen. I was on planes, not trains, planes and automobiles to meet these people, to have these conversations, to negotiate these deals, to build these proposals, to sell $500,000 deals or six-figure deals like it was nothing, and literally thought that it was nothing but a job for me and allowed that to change my life. You doggone right. This is valuable and this is important and this is something that people need to know. But the thing about it that's so interesting with being online is how do you break through the noise of that? Like, how do you continue to show up as who you are and the value that you have and the passion that you have and break through all the noise that's going on in the world? It can just be, for me, a little, what do you say? Like, it just took a lot of mental effort. And that's why I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I think I can just keep my talents to myself and let people fall where they may. But even saying that, I'm like, nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. There are people, and I think about my past clients, people that literally saw their business and themselves in a whole different way. Like this is bigger than just a contract. And I know this for myself because of what it did for me, but it's bigger than just a contract. It is a shift in how you see yourself into your business. I hear it in the testimonial videos that I do all the time. It creates a space where you're like, oh, I'm not just this, but I can also position this as that. And no, I'm not new to what I'm doing, but I may be new to this space. And now I can be able to navigate it with a different level of sophistication that I wasn't able to do before. And that sets you apart. That the ability to have it happen one time opens up the door for you to be able to do it again and again and again and use those same skill sets to turn it into different things. I've had clients that have gone and won pitch competitions, right? Clients that can use these same skills and get sponsorships, like all these things, the ability to have a conversation with a corporation or a brand and really understand how to tap into their needs and make the translation between what you provide. Woo! It's multiple $1 million skill set. You can get whatever it is that you want when you know how to speak about it in a way that makes them lean in and say, tell me more. That makes them say, yes, we absolutely need this. So anyway, I say all that to say that one, I just said the event is happening. And so if you are interested in the event, we're not doing a whole lot of like mass, it's not ads and all of that. It's really going to be an intimate space that's invite only. And so if you want access to that, I'll drop the waitlist link. And so we're starting a waitlist and literally the event will only be promoted to that waitlist. And so again, this is going to be very intimate. We are going to be connecting with decision makers in the room. It's going to be this beautiful mixer. I'm going to be walking you through my systems and process. Like you're going to be putting yourself in position for opportunities before you even get in the room and inside of the room. So this is going to be like a space for true implementation and execution, not just rah rah, bunch of people on stage, pamphlets, workbooks, and all of that. Like, no, we're rolling up our sleeves and we're getting these contract opportunities pitched for and started right there in the room and even before you get into the room. All right, so that's one exciting update that we are bringing the event back for this year. We took, I guess, last year off. I literally thought in 2023 this was the first and last event I'm doing. I ain't doing this no more. I like being in the house. I'm an introvert and I ain't doing this no more. However, it looks like we just took a year off for 2024 and we are back for 2025 here in Atlanta. I didn't say that. So it'll be in person in Atlanta, September 12th through 14th. And yeah, so all the details will be given to that wait list, and I'll share that link wherever you find this video. And I may also put it in my bio. Because yeah, anybody can join the wait list. That's just how you'll get more information about it. So that's one thing. Now, other things or other updates that I want to share is expansion. I'm tired of being in a niche. I'm tired of feeling like I can only talk about contracts. I love it. I want more of that shared with you guys, but I do a whole lot of other stuff. Well, I shouldn't say a whole lot, but there is a whole lot more to me and a whole lot more value that I can provide that doesn't fit into a business consulting or corporate contracts consulting box only. And I just feel so limited, feeling like this is all that I can talk about on my platforms. How you get corporate contracts. Here's where the contracts are. Here, da, da, da. And to be honest, I love it, like I said, but I'd much rather, I'm so much better with what do they call it? Responding to people's like needs or questions versus trying to figure out how do I get up and, give 3 tips on this today. I'm like, I have 20 million tips. I could really nerd out on so many different things. Like, I don't feel the value for me to get on and just figure out what 3 topics I want to talk about today. I'd much rather get opportunities and really see like, okay, what are you moving on? What's happening? What are your questions? Where are you getting stuck? And then be able to say, here's how you handle this. Because I don't know if anyone is similar to myself. I know that there are, people who learn things one particular way, and that's how they share of how you can do a thing. But I know so many different ways to make a contract opportunity happen, to connect with decision makers. There really is no one size fits all. There are so many different ways that you can approach it based on so many different nuances. So the other thing is, I was like, okay, I did a whole lot of one-on-ones. So when I looked at and reviewed my last year, like 60, 70% of my revenue was from me doing one-on-one, whether that was a VIP day or doing ongoing one-on-one consulting, coaching. I even did like some individualized team training for a small like healthcare team. All of that, was basically customized stuff for one-on-one. And I'm like, okay, the thing they say online, you can't do all this one-on-one stuff. And I do have a group program, and I couldn't quite figure out how to, like, what the difference was in both, right? So I still served and gave all the things in the group, but I'm like, you really need the one-on-one, because to have like a clear understanding of what you are meant to do. Yes, I can give you the frameworks and the processes, but you need to have access to be able to customize it in your own way. And the way that I had set up my group, I'm like, this is good for people to get the process in place and like learn the steps and the pieces and get their business set up. But when it comes to actually negotiating opportunities, you need somebody like that's really going to be in your back pocket, and that access at that level of that program, it just didn't provide for that. So it helped me to learn that certain frameworks and processes that fit overall in online business or coaching, they may not make sense for the type of work that I do. So with that being said, I know that I'm being or I know that one of the elements that I enjoy is one-on-one, and I just have to figure out how to, well, I've already figured that out. But the call was to figure out exactly how I can do more of that, because that's where the true transformation is created. And those are the people who are actually ready to implement. Most of the people in the group, they're learning the steps, right? So it takes more time to be able to put those things in place and actually move. But when I work with the one-on-one folks, like most of them are already in this space already. They just want to figure out how they can do it better, more efficiently, all the things. And so one-on-one is still sticking around, and somehow, in some way, I'm like, okay, we have to figure out how to do that and combine. Um, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's happening over here. Somebody liked the live. Thank you. And it says something about something else. I don't know. A lot going over here on TikTok. But yeah, so that one-on-one component is going to still remain, and we're going to be switching up the group program to be more of a boot camp. So that's what I shared when I said I did the behind the scenes, because I was sharing, what we've created in the boot camp space, and how we're going to be evolving that to continue to serve those who are at the space of learning exactly how to get their business set up, what their offer should be, all of that, and getting that basis. And then once you're really in those conversations and you're in the thick of the process, it makes sense to now get closer one-on-one support so you can have that customization. So that's one thing that we will be continuing to evolve our offers as, because just based upon the data, I'm seeing like there's kind of a couple of different people, obviously, that we can serve, and at what level they need to be served and what the expectation should be at that level is going to be really important. And I want to make sure to call out the fact that I do have advisors that help me. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh, I just made this up myself. I know some people, will feel a way about that. But yes, I do have people who help me kind of figure these things out and get unstuck in these areas, which I believe we all should, because sometimes we can't see the very thing that makes the most sense until somebody says, well, did you think about it like this? All right. What else do I want to share? Oh yeah, so that evolution, that's how I started talking about that. Getting out of the box of just speaking on contracts, just talking about, how you can get these opportunities and all of that, and that there's so much more that is beyond this that I want to share. One of the big things, and I've been doing it low key over here on TikTok. Like y'all ain't seen it on my other platforms because I've just been kind of low key with it. I've been talking about my faith journey, and I've been talking about really my personal development journey overall. I have done so much work on myself. I have pages and pages of distinctions, of shifts, of just new mindsets that I've had that are so good. I'm like, there's no way that this can just sit in a journal, like, because, oh, I'm only supposed to be talking about contracts. Like, girl, no, talk about whatever you want to talk about. So I've been doing it over on TikTok. And again, let me back up. That has been a level of obedience. That was an instruction that I received weeks back to do a 30 days of content on the different things that I am getting revelations on or experiencing as a part of my faith journey, but also my personal development journey. So I started doing that over there, and people have really been getting blessed by it. Like I've been putting it up and literally like running, because I'm like, I don't even really want to share all this. I didn't say I wanted to talk about this. This isn't my typical content. So I've just been putting it up and literally like running. And then the next day when I'm posting the next video, I'll see comments and likes and all the things. And I'm like, oh, people want to know this too. And so going back to what I said about the dominion piece and like having dominion over your assignment and over your things, I recognize that it's really not just about like, in my study Bible says this, like your purpose or your calling isn't just about like the vocation or the work. It's also about like the story. It's also about who you are, your character. All those things can be a blessing to others. And so for me to hold back and say, well, I'm only this, like I only can talk about this, is doing a disservice to those who can be blessed by the fact that I'm an anxiety survivor, who can be blessed by the fact that I was a person who often would retreat, and I still have to deal with that sometimes when things are going negatively for me, who's been a person who's been in dark spaces, who's been the person who hasn't always been on top, who hasn't been always on her game, who has let overwhelm, disappointment, lack, doubt, insecurity drive the show. And it's cost me things in the process. All of those things could be blessings. The fact that I have, testimonies or just these things that I am literally downloaded and I don't believe are just for me that I can be sharing with other people. Like, why keep that to a box? And so those are the things that I want to share. I want to be able to share, stuff about moves that I'm making, goals that I have, things that I created. Like, a lot of people don't know I owned 3 homes before I was 30. Like, I've made 6-figure profits off of selling my own personal residence. I don't talk about that. Just different like moves that I have made to be, early, in career and things like that. Like, I moved to a totally different city. I didn't talk about that. I mean, I was happy about it for me, but I didn't think that would like really bless anybody or anything like that. But when I see people talking about their moves and like how people are, encouraged and inspired to move based upon that story, I'm like, oh, I've never shared that. Like, I never shared how we literally planned to move our whole life. We didn't have, like, it wasn't, we created the situation to move. It wasn't like, oh, this happened and it kind of took us there. We literally created it. This home that we live in now, we literally created the opportunity to be here. So just sharing those testimonies, those stories, those things that, again, I believe could be a blessing, especially knowing that, like, for example, with this house, we literally sat down and were like, here are all the things we wanted. We walked into the place. It was like literally the steps were ordered down to the T for exactly what we wanted. We walked into the space, and just how that all transpired was like miracle on miracle on miracle. Why would I not share that? So that is another update and change that I'm going to do. I'm going to start sharing more about, not necessarily like, I don't want it to be like, oh, my life. So I'm going to start talking like about my son, because I really don't. I don't like having like my son and my family, all on the internet and things like that. But just to talk about me and my distinctions and the things that are happening in my life that I believe could be a blessing. I know that that is something that I am hesitant to share, but I believe a part of what my dominion is here on earth. And I'm not a prophet. I'm not, Bible scholar. I'm not, none of that. Don't proclaim to be none of that. I don't even play that, right? But I do believe in my own right. I have a story and testimony. I do believe that my time spent in the word over the past few years, I can share my distinctions. I can share what's coming up for me and the downloads that are specifically coming to me that I believe could be helpful to others. All right. So gonna start seeing that. I don't know how. Right now it's just on TikTok. So if you're not following me over there, you can go and follow me over there. Just know it's a little different. And I'm still filling it out, but it's good. People are liking it. So that's what I'm sharing over there. And I'm going to start really connecting with more. So I've been really dedicating more of my time. I've done my corporate stuff, on my own under my own company as well, but I've really dedicated most of my time and energy to working with and helping others learn the steps, right? Because a part of it was like, yes, I can do this. And like I said, I've done this even in my own company, but I'm like, I really felt more comfortable being the behind the scenes person that's like the brains and that's, designing the strategies and all of that versus being the presenter, being the face, being the deliverer of the content and all the things and all of that. I felt more comfortable, being the brains. And so I saw that even as how I structured the business. I was more structuring myself to just simply be the brains of these operations that I served versus being the talent, essentially, or being the the forward-facing expert in my areas, which are around leadership development, coaching, all of those things. Like this personal development stuff that I'm going through applies to leadership so deeply. And I'm like, now that I've learned certain things for myself and I've went through certain things and I'm on the other side of them, which is hard to say that because you say on the other side, but we often know that certain lessons will come up again, right? So it's not that things go away, but they may come up in a different season. So it's hard to say like over it, but through, I would say the first cycle, the first piece of learning of certain things, I'm like, oh, this would be so good to do a leadership training. Oh, when I was in corporate, I wish people would have told me more about this, or I wish, they would have trained the leaders on this and that and really talked about these specific things that, again, only I can share through my experience. So I'm like, oh, okay, now I am going to free myself from feeling like I just need to be the brains and really get out there more for my own organization with some of the things that we're doing for companies and like really blowing up some of those offers that we have. And so I've been doing more, like a couple of posts on LinkedIn. I've been doing more of my active pitching, even not just limited to like corporate contracts in terms of training, but in terms of, doing content, in terms of, doing some in-house coaching. Like one of the things that I'm thinking is for a lot of entrepreneur programs, I need to be in there getting paid, doing the same thing that I'm doing with y'all, doing the same thing that I tell my clients to do. Like we do these free webinars, we do these trainings. Why are we not positioning ourselves for these opportunities? I'm like, I need to be doing this too. I need companies to pay me to come in and train their salespeople on how to sell to corporate better. I can do that all day. Like, what? I need to be the trainer for the me I used to be inside of these organizations that I worked for in these sales teams. Like easily. Girl, go on and do it. Just stop playing with yourself. And now that my son is going to school here in like literally, oh my goodness, is it like 2 or 3 weeks away? I'm still trying to get through it. But yeah, so he'll be going to school soon. So my days will be a lot more free. That was another thing. I'm like, Lord, at the time I had full-time job, business, and my son happening all throughout the day. And I'm like, I don't know how I can do all the things that I need to do that I'm seeing you lead me to without having, more time in the day, which is just simply impossible. Now that he's going to school, it's like, oh, I have some free time. I can get out of the house during the day. I can, host a training and not have to, pause on the side or wonder what he's doing upstairs. Like I have more space to be able to do the things. So I think everything aligns and happens for a reason. But through that process, I was also dealing with myself about kind of hiding in the shadows in the background and, being the engine for others, but not quite wanting to be the forward facing for my stuff at the time and what it took to do that. I was just like, oh, I'm exhausted. Like I'll do it. Of course, we had some opportunities and I'm glad that they came in the way that they did. And we were doing some pitching. But it was like, I felt like I needed to choose one or the other. Like I didn't have the capacity to be able to do both. Remember I told y'all about the event when I was just like, Lord, I have nothing left. You want me to do this event? I have nothing left. I feel like I'm on the last leg of even feeling like, should I be doing this or should I just go and like go back to where I was, where things were simple and, all that. So I was in that space. And literally this event thing comes up. And then I'm like, okay, how do I have the space to be able to do all the things? How can I be the best at this and this? How can I dominate this lane as the leadership development person and always also dominate this lane as the expert that works with entrepreneurs? It just felt like too much. Now in this season, I'm seeing like what the bridge could potentially be in multiple ways. Like there are companies who want, like the event, the big part of the event is allowing companies to attend so that they can match make with you all who are vetted, who are, it's going to be a small room, invite only people I know, people, that I've been able to work with. So I'm like, okay, companies, you come to me when you want the top people who are prepared, who have the scale to be able to honor the contracts, and who have the training and knowledge on how to interact and serve a company at large scale. They don't have that right now. I know a lot of times these companies go and they're a part of these certification bodies, or they go to these different things, and the people are not prepared. The people are not educated on how to do business with companies because they just let the masses come. If you say you're a business owner, you can come and show up and learn how to sell to corporations, but they don't know how to teach you. They don't know how to enable you. None of those people, I won't say none, I'm going to say most of those people inside of those organizations who are hosting matchmaking events or ways that you can connect with decision makers, they have never sold to a decision maker. Tell me I'm wrong, but I'd be willing to put a stack on it that they've never sold to corporations. So they don't know your experience. They don't know the experience of being inside of a corporation. They can glean that from the companies that they partner with and the people that they get to know, but they don't know what it's like to hold the purse strings. They don't know what it's like to be like many people don't, and I don't say this in a way to be like, oh, look at me, da da da. But I just say it to be a reminder of myself. There are not many people who are like me, who are literally like chameleons of many different faces, of many different ways of how I've interacted with this space, from a marketing standpoint, from a sales standpoint, from being a decision maker, from being an entrepreneur. Like there's this gumbo, in a sense, this makeup that I have that most people don't have. Nobody has my exact experience and combination. So for companies to come to these events, and it's like the person who's leading it, the person who's that liaison, they don't have that experience. They only have the third party knowledge. It doesn't hit. It doesn't create the success that I know it could. And I know because I've sat in these events and I've looked around and I've been like, these folks need more training. These companies need to come in here with real opportunities and stop wasting folks' time. Why are you here if you don't know anything about this? Why did no one think to ensure that based upon the people who are coming in the room, that you had ideal decision makers that would actually hire them? Like, why no one thought to have these people in the room and y'all just giving random information? Oh, connect with supplier diversity. Nobody knows that they're really a third party as well. They're not the buyers. They help you get in. They're a champion, but they're not the people who are actually going to sign on the bottom line. So that's not going to help you either. Everybody's just spinning around in circles, and I'm just kind of watching these things happen, and I'm like, that's not the space needs something different. The space needs to be shaped up. The space needs something fresh that's intentional, that not just provides access, but also provides real training, that not just provides you meeting people, but actually forges true relationships. And to be honest, that's the big vision that I've been like, I don't know, Lord, how I can pull that off. Like I see it, I see the need, I see the solution. I know exactly what would help fix this. I just don't know how. I'm supposed to do it on my own. What? Come on. Like, I don't get it. However, again, going back to another message, it's not about me doing the hard parts. It's about me taking the steps. It's about me inviting you to the event. It's about me inviting you to get on the wait list. It's about me having conversations on your behalf with decision makers here in the local area, saying, I have people who are looking to support your organization and they're ready to go. And being that person who can vouch, like, yeah, they good. Like they're not going to show up asking you, what do you have for me? They already know the deal. And same token, when you come and speak to these companies, these aren't people that's just looking to play around and collect business cards. They really want this. They really want connections in this area. They really want to bring people into their companies to do these things. So I'm really getting into my head and sharing with y'all all these different things that are going through my mind, and where I see things evolving, and where I see the gaps, and where I truly need the support. to pull it off. And like where I'm figuring out where that's going to come from, because um it can't just be me. And I'm used to uh doing things where it's just me, and it's just me with the vision and all those things. And I recognize that it doesn't go that far, because Kirsten only has but so many hours in a day, and she's a wife and she's a mom and she's all these different things. She has so much on her plate. This big of a vision cannot just be on me. That's why I had to really start looking at, okay, how do I bridge, my spiritual life, and make it a holistic part of my life? Not just, oh, I'm praying for salvation, I'm okay with salvation, but how do I invite the Holy Spirit into, here's my day-to-day stuff, here's the vision that you gave me. I don't want to just take it and run with it. I want to take it and run with you with it, because that's where I can tap into that capacity to pull these things off. I started to see that just with the one step of obedience to post about the event, and saw now new eyeballs are brought. So the next step, like continue to take the next step and do the things over and over again, because this vision is so needed. I've seen a few of y'all here for a while, so I think that this is landing with you all in terms of, just all, I know I talked all over the place. I literally just kind of like poured my heart out and discussed different things, but just this space that I'm in, I'm like, I want to talk more. I want to talk about, what we're doing, and, just distinctions that we're having, because people need more light in the world right now. I honestly think, quite frankly, we don't necessarily need more trainings and more learnings and more this and more that. We, oh, this thing wants you to stay on. Okay. We need more light. We need more positivity. There's so much negativity going on in the world. There's so much fear going on in the world. And I think what really people are looking for, and even me, myself, the most, is, where is the light? Where is the light? We've gotten so much knowledge. We've gotten so much book knowledge, head knowledge, all the things. And I'll out myself that sometimes it can feel like the burden is not, what more do I need to know? It's, how can I get the strength and the capacity to move on what I know? I'm faced with this too. I am faced with this too. How do I get the strength to move on what I know? How do I get the strength to move on this big vision? How do I get the strength to move, to create the barriers, the bridges that these people who I know are assigned to me are needing? I'm gonna share this one last thing, and then I don't know how long we've been on here. We just been talking. Oh, we've been on here almost an hour. Lord. I had this vision. It was so clear, y'all. And then I think this will kind of wrap it up. It was a vision of me. Just imagine like my arms kind of like stretched out, and not the regular length, but like stretched, from wall to wall, just huge. And it was like all these people behind me, and my hands are just like stretched out, holding them back, right? Just holding them back. Like, so imagine like an empty space in front of me, a huge space. I'm talking about like thousands of people are kind of being like held back by these arms. And what I got from that, and what I already knew, like as I was seeing it, I was like, I know exactly what this is. I'm holding things back. There are all these people that, are looking for support, need support, want a space, want the light and all the things. And I'm holding them back due to perfection, due to my own insecurities, due to my own doubt. I'm saying, no, I don't want y'all all in here, because look, when I do that, then, you got to see all this. Then you got to see that things are not always perfect. Then you have to see that sometimes like mistakes will be made. You ever think about when you invite somebody to your house, especially if it's not clean, it's their first time over here, you kind of keep them in one particular area. You like, don't go back here, don't go in the closet. Like, you keep them in that particular area, because you don't want them to see like all the imperfections and things. Maybe you still trying to impress them, or whatever the case may be. I have felt like that. Like, okay, I need to keep this facade up, and then I need to keep everybody out here, because I don't want them to see this in the corner. I don't want them to see this and that. I don't want them to judge me, all the things. And what I realized is all of that holding back is ego. It is me focused on me instead of me focused on them. People aren't looking for perfection. And I know people have said that all the time. And I had said, well, that don't apply to me. Like, I can't be showing up like this. Like, yeah, they can do that, but I can't do that. Like, I can't be, like that. I can't be vulnerable. I can't be transparent like that. That won't work for me. That's what I told myself. And what I've come to realize is that's really a true disservice to those who are looking for what the imperfection looks like, who are looking for, someone who does not always have it all together, who's had to back out of things, who's had to, ungracefully bow out because she put too much on her schedule and now she's stressed out, like, but has a good heart, but has a pure heart, who wants to do the right thing, who has so much expertise and gift to share to people. And at the same time, being pruned, and at the same time feeling powerless by and also being powerful, and can uncomfortably hold both of those spaces, who can be someone who, yes, knows a lot and also feels like they're constantly learning. So I feel that in this season, as kicking and screaming as I am about it, to step into that and be like, you know what? Let the people in. Put your arms down and let the people go. Let them go in the closets. Let them go. Matter of fact, open the closets. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to hide the closets. Open the closets. This happened. That happened. This thing happened. This didn't work. This, I'm not trying to put no bow on all these situations that have happened. It just is what it is. So that's the change. That's the update. That's the things. And I know on TikTok, y'all just got the whole story about everything for the first time. But yeah, that's the new season that I'm in, and I'm excited about it. Look, what does Tamar say? I'm nerve-sighted about it because I'm like, ooh, this is a little different. But I know that it's required for this season, and it's required for not only this season, it's required in general. It really is. So y'all will be seeing more content coming up. My throat is dry. I really was talking for an hour. Y'all are going to see more content coming up just about that spiritual journey, brand stuff, like I mentioned, like getting our own contracts, but also getting brand opportunities to promote things. Like, I have an audience too. I have people who listen to me as well. I have people who need to know about certain things that I enjoy, or whatever. So sharing those things are going to be important. Again, bringing in the light. The light is within me, and it's not just in one particular area. It's so many different things. And then we're going to be gearing up for this event. And we're going to be continuing to double down on our one-on-one, on our VIP days, on our opportunities to be the bridge between corporations and small business owners. Not just talking about it, not just even teaching about it, but creating the space where the deals happen. Like, I really want it to be like, and I used to joke around and say this to myself, like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Drumline. I'm sure y'all have. But he was like, I'm captain of the drum line. You want to get down, you got to come to me. And so I would be saying that to myself, like, I'm a corporate contracts girl. Like, you want to get down, you come to me. And so that's kind of where I want to, that is where I want to stand in this space. Like, you want to get down on either side. Like, you want the best of the best corporate contract vendors, small businesses to work with, you come to KJA. Like, and individuals, you want to be working with these companies who are excited to work with you, like they have opportunities, they're ready to go. KJA is your one-stop shop to be the bridge between both of those. So I don't know if I ever shared that, but that's the really big vision that I have for this. All right. So it looks like most people are heading out. Y'all hung out with me for the larger part of an hour. And so I'm going to go ahead and log off. I don't have any more meetings today. I just have some work that I'm going to get done. TikTok, y'all been lit over here. So I'm glad we got a chance to do that a little live and test that out today and see that I actually have that feature. Who knew? And I will see y'all soon. All right. How do I end this? Okay, here we go. End now. And then we're going to end over here. Okay, see y'all later.